That's 855-993-2096.
Are you ready to shake up the world of health with me? Welcome to Disruptive Health, where we are flipping the script on traditional wellness. I'm Dr. Denise Brown, and on this show, we are diving deep into the latest trends and breakthroughs in health and wellness. Whether you're curious about nutrition, exploring new therapies, or just want to live your best life, Disruptive Health is your guide. Don't miss Disruptive Health, coming soon to Now Media TV.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining me. My name is Jen Potter, and I am the host of Networking Now. Today, I am joined by Heather Estremera, who is a real estate attorney, and we get to talk about all of the things a real estate attorney does. And I have learned so much because I, to be honest, didn't know what half of these things were. And as someone who wants to buy a house, I think it is so important to know the importance of having a working relationship with a real estate attorney. More importantly, when you're a real estate attorney, how do you network? And what I didn't know is that almost anyone could be someone that she could network with. And yes, does she have her spheres of the people that are super important to her to help get her business up off the ground running? Absolutely. Networking is so important when it comes to growing our business. We know that. That's why I do this job. But to find out who that person is and what works best for real estate attorneys, especially here in the Northeast, it was so important. So stay tuned for an amazing show with Heather Estremera, who is a real estate attorney and also a good friend of mine. We'll be back after this.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Are you a business owner feeling overwhelmed or burnt out with no energy left for what's most important to you? In order to effectively run your business and maximize your profits, you have got to be the best possible you that you can be. Now is the time to reclaim your energy, master your schedule, and maximize your profits so you can effectively run your business rather than it running you. It's time to become the CEO of your business and life. I'm Jen Godet, a business strategist and life coach. I work with overwhelmed business owners who feel stuck in a rut and depleted. I teach you how to stop doing the things that aren't making you money and start prioritizing the things that bring you energy, joy, and lasting impact. I'm a human performance specialist and an international best-selling author. I've helped countless people all over the world to learn the art of saying no, overcome their fear, and maximize their performance. Let's get you to live your best possible reality. Start today and become the CEO of your business and your life.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Hi, my name is Jen Potter, and I am the host of Networking Now, where we talk to business owners and people in industries all over the world, talking about business and networking and what works and what doesn't work. Today, I am joined by Heather. She is a good friend that I've known and met through networking. So Heather, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you. Well, if you want to jump in, just tell everybody who you are, what you do. You can tell them how we met, because that's always my favorite part of the stories.
Okay. I'm Heather Estremera. I'm a real estate attorney. I'm with the Barletta team at Ligris & Associates. We're a group of 3, and we work on residential real estate transactions in Massachusetts. And how I met Jen was through a networking group. We were both in the same networking group, and it was actually in a metropolitan area close by us, about an hour away. And we both joined that group, and we met in networking. We really hit it off, and then we started talking, and we realized that we live right down the street from each other. And then actually Jen asked me to start a networking group in the local area that we lived in. And so we started that group, and it's a really great, successful group now.
I know, it's crazy how that happens, right? And it was so funny when we joined that other group, because we live in Massachusetts, and both of us joined a group that was an hour away from home, because it was a really great group to be a part of. And little did we know that we just lived super close. And it was even funnier when I knew that you had the connection with my neighbor, who is like right across the street. So it's so funny when people, like, you know, they're in different places, but they still connect. And networking is so powerful, especially, you know, through the internet, especially, you know, coming out of COVID, and how important that was. So being a real estate attorney, how often do you go to in-person meetings or virtual meetings?
So at the moment, I go to one virtual meeting networking a week, and I probably do about 3 to 4 in-person networking events a month.
Oh, I like that. And I like that number too. I try to do the same thing, like 3 to 4 networking in person, but it must be hard. As a real estate attorney, I would assume you have very specific things that you're looking for, like specific people, specific industries. What type of people do you typically look for through these networking meetings?
So typically, I try to meet with realtors, lenders, people that are in the real estate industry. But that's like basically who I target. But then I've also learned over the years networking that basically networking with the general public is really in my favor because as well as people in the real estate industry, because these people, like pretty much everybody knows somebody that owns a home, wants to own a home, wants to sell a home, wants to buy a home, needs to refinance. So I think that I'm lucky in that way that I can basically network with almost anybody.
Which is really awesome because then it just makes it easier when you're looking for someone specific, right? Because if you have all of these different people that you're able to network with, and it's one of those things where from my side I question how hard is it for you to connect with someone, and then I just start thinking like real estate agents that I know are competitive. So how do you find working with different real estate agents and finding, is it easy because you're just assisting them? How does that work? I've always wondered.
Yes, so it's very interesting. So basically, it's almost like the real estate agent is a client as well. So you have the buyer or the seller who's a client, but also the real estate agent is a client. So it's really about fostering that relationship with that real estate agent because you're also helping them um, be more effective, provide a better service to their clients. So it's really important to create that connection and really establish a good connection and to nurture it. So it's a kind of a twofold. So it's like the real estate agent's the client as well as the buyer and the seller.
So it's a lot. That's a lot to kind of manage, but um, yeah, it's so when you're working with real estate agents, you can work with them directly. You don't have to work directly with the organization that they work for, right? So you can work for other agencies as well. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, so absolutely. So yeah, so basically we don't work with, well, we do some, there are some brokerage that we work with pretty much most of the agents in that brokerage, but most of the real estate agents are independent, even though they may work for a brokerage. They have their own book of business and they have their own clients, their own lenders, and their own insurance agents and their own attorneys that they use. So, from a networking perspective, it makes better sense to really network with individual agents versus like a whole brokerage.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's actually really good to know. And so going through these types of through networking, what have you found are the best forms of networking when looking for your ideal client? Because like you said, you can interact with anybody you really want to interact with, but how do you find that you are the most successful in the networking industry when you're targeting clients?
So I've learned that in-person events is really good at bringing in prospective home buyers, prospective clients, and also real estate agents. And what I've found is like people generally like some type of activity. So the most successful networking events that I've had are like paint nights or pottery nights or some type of like themed activity where somebody might have an interest and then it's kind of they go to the activity and they're doing that and then you just kind of walking around making sure everything's all right and maybe like even you know um, get involved in that activity as well and then you just have like natural conversations, you have connections, and those are really the best networking events that I have.
That's actually really funny that you said that because as soon as you said that, I put that down. I'm like activity based networking. I don't even know how many of those I've actually been to. And, just listening to you say it, I'm like, ooh, I love paint night. So it was like this instant like click in my head when you said it. And then I was like, wait a minute, I don't think I've been to any of those. So the fact that that was something that you found is that works really well. It makes me want to go, ooh, I want to do a paint night, right? Um, and I mean, I love activity bases. We've talked about this before. I'm doing a pajama party networking party tomorrow, and just the thought of it, like people are like, wait, I can wear my pajamas. I'm like, yes, whatever whatever type of pajama you would wear around, your children, those are what you wear to the networking event. You have to be specific sometimes because you're not sure how people are going to show up. But I love the idea of the paint night and kind of making it so it's more like, having a conversation with somebody than actually feeling like, you're networking, because it's hard sometimes. I feel like sometimes when we're around the same group of people or we're in a new environment, sometimes we always gravitate to the people that we know. And I think when I think of different specifics and different things to do, I love the fact that you said that. Like, I wrote that down and highlighted it, and maybe there's going to be a paint night networking group coming out soon. So
yeah, that's great. I'd love to go.
I love it. No, that sounds awesome. So thank you for that suggestion. So, being a real estate attorney, are there other things that you are able to do when it comes to like working with your client? Is it very specific? Is it just real estate base, or is there additional things that you're able to help your home, I guess the buyers or the sellers that you're providing service to? Are you able to give them other services as well?
So generally it's residential real estate transactions that I specialize in. So like buying, selling, refinancing, but we also do condo conversions. So if you have like a duplex, that's really hot right now. Multifamilies, people are, especially in major like metropolitan areas, they're making them, converting them into condos so that they can sell them individually. So we do that. We also help individuals create business, set up businesses like a LLC or corporation if they want to then convey the property into a business entity instead of an individual. So we do that as well. And that's pretty much covers what we can do, but we do also have a estate planning attorney that we have within the firm that we work with our clients, because that's a lot of clients ask those questions at the closing. So we do have somebody that we refer to, and we also have like an amazing business attorney on staff as well.
Oh, that's actually really good to know. And I guess that's kind of one of the things that I was thinking, right? Because in my head, as when I'm buying a house, I instantly thought estate, but I do know that estate planning attorneys have a different title. So I wasn't sure how that kind of like falls in line with that, right? I think, if you just take the average person, do we know the difference between, real estate attorney and estate planning and things like that? I mean, you don't know what you don't know. And, but I find it, interesting. But I'm going to ask you a question just because I'm really curious about it. And you mentioned the condo conversion. Could you explain that to me a little bit more? Because that just seemed like a really cool thing to do.
Yeah, I can. So yeah, a lot of people, it's become very hot. So if there's a multifamily property and somebody wants to put that property on the market, before they put it on the market, they will, what we call like convert it into condos. So basically what that means in Massachusetts is that you convey the property. Well, you create a condo trust, right? And then you convey the property into the condo trust, and then you create what's called like a master deed, where it goes over the covenants and basically describes what's considered common area and what's actually the unit, what's part of the unit, and then goes over all the particulars of the condos. So that's kind of what we help with. We'll create the master deed and we'll create the declaration of trust is what it's called in Massachusetts. And so it's just a way that you can create like individual units so that you can, optimize your profit when you sell that property. And it's really hot. Like we do a lot of condo conversions, especially in the Boston area.
I can definitely see that. And well, as soon as you said that and you started to explain it, I was like, ooh, that sounds really interesting. How could someone, how could you make money off of that? And it just seems like that almost seems like a no-brainer, right? Especially if you're in like a hot area and, people, we have a train coming down to our local area. I'm like, oh,
yes.
definitely be something down here too, right? So that's really cool. I've never even heard of that. I didn't even know that was a thing. So I learned something new today. So thank you for that. So that is really, really awesome. And, like you said, being able to help them with the LLCs and their business entities. And I think that that's really cool, because for someone like myself who owns multiple businesses, I understand that people, buy and sell real estate, but there's so much more to it that I know nothing about. And the more and more I talk to people in your industry, I'm always blown away at all of the different things that you're able to actually do in real estate. And that's why I just find it so interesting. And I feel like everybody I talk to, I learn something different. So yeah, so thank you for that. That was really cool. So, and I wanted to kind of circle it back for just a minute, because I know you talked about doing a lot of stuff in the Boston area, being the fact that you're, from where we are, Boston from us is like about an hour away. Do you service just Massachusetts? Do you service, different states or anything like that? Are you able to service other states, or is it just pretty local?
So, I'm only licensed in Massachusetts, so I only provide legal services or for real estate in Massachusetts. But in Rhode Island, in New Hampshire, you can conduct a closing and you don't have to be an attorney. So that's just a Massachusetts thing. So if we're representing a lender in Massachusetts or New Hampshire, we are able to conduct the closing as a title agent, as like a title company. So we are able to do that.
Oh, that's really interesting. So I'll have some questions for you after the break about the title, the title stuff. So that's really cool. So we're going to jump to break. Thank you so much, Heather. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the questions that I have for you, dive a little bit deeper into networking, and stay tuned.
Great.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
Thank you so much for coming back. My name is Jen Potter, and I am the host of Networking Now. And I am joined today with Heather Estremera, who is a real estate attorney. So thank you again for being here. And so before the break, we talked about a whole bunch of different things, how we met, what type of things that she does with networking. And prior to the break, we talked about something that kind of sparked my interest a little bit. She just briefly mentioned about, title companies and, when doing like real estate transactions. And then I had like this question when it came to her business. As a real estate attorney, you do have to deal with a lot of different people. And I know someone such as myself who has, bought several houses. I still don't know the full answer to this question. So I'm going to be that person. I'm going to tell you, you don't know what you don't know. That's one of my favorite things to say, because if I don't know, I want to learn a little bit more about it. And so you mentioned a title company. And when I bought my house, I don't remember working directly with a title company. I remember working with a mortgage company. Is that like the same thing? Do they what does their role play? How do you play in delegating the different roles with that? I'm curious if you happen to have an answer, and if you don't, that's perfectly fine, but I just want to learn a little bit more.
Yeah, I definitely have an answer. So the title company or the real estate attorney is the person that's usually in charge of making sure that the title is good for the property so that it can be insured by title insurance. So they work in conjunction with the lender, because most lenders won't provide a loan unless the property is insurable, right? So they work in conjunction with the lender. So now the difference between a title company and a real estate attorney is a title company is just really providing a service to make sure that the property can receive title insurance, and they're not offering any legal advice. So they wouldn't be negotiating your purchase and sale contract. They're not going to be drafting your deed or any associated other legal documents that you would need for your transaction. They're just going to be getting a title exam, making sure that they can get title insurance for the property. Whereas a real estate attorney will be able to negotiate that purchase and sale contract, review title, do any curative work. So if there's anything on the title that needs to be fixed, the real estate attorney can do that. And then also we can draft your deed, any powers of attorney or trustee certificates if your home's held in trust. So that's the major difference between the title company and a real estate attorney.
That was really good. I don't think I would have ever known that. And, and I think what sparked that interest was when you were saying the difference between like Massachusetts and other local states that are near us, when you said you could act as, I think you said as like a title company, right? And so that was like really interesting to me, because I'm like, I don't know what the difference is, but I guess it makes perfect sense when you say they can't give any legal advice. They can only do up to so much when they're doing it. So that's super interesting. So thank you. I feel, again, second segment, feel a little bit smarter. So thank you for that. So what am I going to learn in the third segment? So, now that, we talked a little bit about that and completely sidetracked because I just needed to know, to bringing it back to networking. And we talked a little bit about the type of networking that we did, which was virtual. We talked about, how a few times a month you get in person and you do, you like to do different types of networking. which again, I need to get more into because I think I'd probably have a better time doing that. But with that being said, when we're talking about networking, there are so many different types of networking groups, and there's so many different in person and so many different, online. What type of preferences do you have when it comes to networking? Like if you were to say, this is what I like best, what do you like best when it comes to networking?
So I'd have to say that I kind of like the hybrid approach. I know that the networking group that me and you are in, Jen, I thought it was great because weekly we met virtually on Zoom. And that was great because it's hard to get in person weekly, especially when you're working and you have kids or a family or other responsibilities. So I really liked that. But our group met in person monthly, and that was really great, and I really really liked that. So I think I like that mix. So I'd like kind of like a hybrid networking group is my preference.
See, I like that too, right? Because I feel like it allows you to do the in person, it allows you to be online, and for us, and I'm sure it's similar for you, right? Because as a real estate attorney, I'm sure you have to be super flexible with your time, and so when you have time to yourself, the time is like shortened. And for me personally, networking online is always the best because my schedule is just so busy. But I do so much all of the time that being in person is the only way for people to understand all of the things that I do. And, when it comes to being a real estate attorney, I know you prefer the hybrid model, you prefer that, but what is when we're talking about networking and you're able to do that, what is the importance of networking to your business? Does it play a big portion in the amount of lead generations that you get, or is it a smaller part? Like, do you get more things just out of referrals? What does that look like, and what is the importance to that when it comes to being a real estate attorney?
So that's a really great question. So I personally believe networking is the most important marketing tool or business development tool, really, for a real estate attorney. That is networking is how I grew my business. I joined as many virtual networking groups when I first started out. I think I was going to like 3 or 4 a week. And those networking groups pretty much gave me all of my deals in the beginning when I started out. And then the relationships that I built in those networking groups have led to other relationships and other referrals. But it's really, I believe that it was really the foundation of building my business and my clients. So it is really that important.
See, I think the same thing. My opinion is completely biased when it comes to networking. I love it so much that I host a TV show about it. But, so how much it means to me. And so hearing that from other people, because that's kind of what I wrote as I was highlighting things, that networking is the most important piece of your business. And, it's for me, when I think about networking and I think about, your reputation and I think about what it is that you do for networking, it's you're not just making a deal, you're creating a relationship. And, when you're buying a house, I personally know how important it is to have an established relationship with my real estate agent, right? And the real estate agent introduces you to the real estate attorney. And I've had a really awful experience with a really awful real estate attorney. And it's when you have someone that you don't feel comfortable with, you don't think is responsible, you're like, whoa, this person's supposed to be helping me buy a house. Like, this is a big investment. And so I didn't look at it, and I'll tell you my personal views on it. I didn't look at that as a bad thing on the real estate agent. I looked at it as, wow, I would never use this real estate attorney again. I actually called and said, can you suggest somebody else, because I don't want to work with him. And she was fantastic. She got someone else. Thankfully, real estate agents, I'm sure, have plenty of other connections such as yourself, so they can call up a Heather and be like, hey, I have a client who I need you to work with specifically. And creating those relationships are so important, because I remember, like, I don't really remember many people that I interact with buying and selling other things, but when it came to my house, this person had to come and sit in my house. This person, came to me and went over these documents with me. And I remember how important it was when it played that role. So it's really nice when you have someone who really cares and really wants to be really embedded in it. And, when you talked about networking, I totally went off on a tangent too, because it was like a trigger for me just then that I didn't remember for a while. But, but I'm sure, right? Everybody has that, because you not only just have like, oh, I had this awful experience with a real estate attorney. I'm sure you can turn around and probably say you have even more stories with awful experiences with clients, right? Not throwing anybody under the bus, but not everybody's a great client. I'm just saying, I know how that works. I tell everybody I'm not for everybody, but not everybody's for me. And, so I know how that works. But, when you talked about how this was the base and how strong it was, I think back to some networking business models. And this like kind of triggered something else in me too. Some business or networking groups have like this model where one person per industry. And I want to ask your opinion on that. A lot of networking groups have one person per industry part of that group. I'm a big person of collaboration over competition. I struggle when people are like, well, there's already a real estate attorney in that group. Let me be very frank. Nobody is you. Nobody is me. And I think two people could be in the exact same business, because one person might get referred based off of personality or reputation or, things like that. And I think, do you collaborate with other real estate attorneys that don't necessarily work for your company, and what does that look like? Because is it, I'm just curious about it.
So I wouldn't say that I've collaborated, but I'm not against it. But I do have some really good relationships with other real estate attorneys, and I would say that it's not as competitive. It's more of like mutual respect. And I totally agree with you, what you're saying though, about the collaboration, because I do think that, especially an attorney, it really does matter about personality and a match. And like, I'm not for everybody. Or some people, might think I'm great, but people might not like my style. So, I'm very approachable. I'm very down to earth. I break things down so people can understand them. But I mean, somebody might want somebody that's like a little more formal. Also my style, I'm not very like aggressive. I believe that you can get things accomplished through making good relationships and having good discussions. I always obviously try that way first. So, yeah, I might not be for everybody, but for a lot of people I am. And I'm definitely open to like collaboration. I would be. And I would definitely serve in a networking group that had another attorney, because I feel like, yeah, if there's somebody else, they somebody may prefer them, but somebody may prefer me. And that's okay, because there's really enough business to go around.
I agree. And it's so hard, because there are so many people that are so cutthroat when it comes to that. And I find as networking is continuing to grow and expand, and it's playing such an imperative role in business growth, I think it's important that we recognize that collaboration is something that is so important. And I just try to emphasize it as much as I possibly can. And, in so many different industries, it can be so catty. And, I think more people that are willing to say it's okay that if another person has the same thing, then we can start breaking down those barriers in order to get the networking groups to grow even bigger, because I think that they would if there was more opportunity, right? And because we talked about something similar, there's a really amazing group that you want to be a part of, but the two local chapters already have, someone in your industry. Well, right. How is that helping, right? Because then now you can't join that networking group, so now you're forced to go do something else. So I know it has its pros and cons, but that's just me. Collaboration over competition, right? So, which I get so worked up about. I'm like, I can talk about this forever. But with that being said, we actually are going to cut to our next break. We talked about a lot of things. On the next break, we're going to talk about how we're going to be able to get a hold of you and all of those fun things and wrap it up. And I'm Jen with Networking Now, and we will be right back.
Hi, my name is Michelle Merhar. You may remember me from the morning news. I'd like to tell you how getting data and documents into action fast gives you a competitive edge. Digital first thinking to manage document workflows efficiently are giving all organizations a competitive edge. In fact, digital document automation is an essential process, helping us to become more profitable and to compete. By making any process paperless with secure automation, decisions can be made efficiently, virtually from anywhere. You'll be able to find and share documents securely in seconds. Your staff will be empowered by making optimal use of every office hour. And by the way, the size of your organization doesn't matter. Precision Products has been helping organizations for more than 30 years with paper to digital processes, including scanning systems for any document to premises and cloud document management systems. We make it easy and scalable for your business process needs from the office or other locations, even mobile devices. Contact us to see how we can help your organization succeed. Contact Will Waterall direct at 713-446-5939 and visit us on the web at precisionproductsinc.com.
Are you ready to shake up the world of health with me? Welcome to Disruptive Health, where we are flipping the script on traditional wellness. I'm Dr. Denise Brown, and on this show, we are diving deep into the latest trends and breakthroughs in health and wellness. Whether you're curious about nutrition, exploring new therapies, or just want to live your best life, Disruptive Health is your guide. Don't miss Disruptive Health, coming soon to Now Media TV.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
Thank you so much for coming back. I am Jen Potter, and I am the host of Networking Now. I am joined with Heather Estremera. We have gone through so many different things when talking about networking. She is a real estate attorney, and she's been doing it for a long time and absolutely loves what she does. And through networking, she has been able to build a foundation for her business. And so I know right before the break, we were talking about the importance of collaboration over competition. And I know for some of the groups that you are part of, that's not always an option. But when we talk about collaboration and we talk about growing, when we're in a networking group, so many networking groups concentrate on what they call spheres. So when we think of the people that we want to network with, we have these people who are like, if I have a good relationship with a real estate agent, if I have a good working relationship with a title agent, I don't know if that's the title, sorry. But you know what I mean? So you have all these different people that, could be power players in helping you grow. Is that typically how you're able to get most of your connections? What does that look like? Are spheres important in your business? I know you said you can network with anybody, but are those important?
Absolutely. Yes, they've been tremendously important to my business. So yeah, pretty much most of the networking groups that I've been involved in, in order to be successful, there has to be a strong real estate agent, a lender, residential lender, and then an insurance agent, and then also a photographer, like a real estate photographer. So those have been really great people for me to network Obviously, the real estate agent and the lender are pretty much my most important spheres, and I form like usually the strongest connections and relationships with those people, and we pass business back and forth frequently. But I've also the insurance agents, I'm able to refer to them and they're able to refer to me, as well as the real estate photographers are able to connect me with other real estate agents that I can get in touch with.
And it's so amazing that you said that, because if you were to tell me to list out all of the people that I think would be great for your sphere, the last person I probably would have said was a real estate photographer. Not to discount a real estate photographer, but I wouldn't even have thought that that would be someone that I would refer to you. So again, third segment, learn something new. Thank you very much for that. I was looking for something I didn't know. So that's actually really fascinating. I find it interesting because real estate photography, especially now, I feel has been so instrumental with real estate selling. Because I know if I want to look at a house down in Florida, just as long as they have a really awesome like pictures and 3D models, I find for me, I'm like, this is great. I can view a house without even having to go there. But I never even thought that that would be someone who I could refer to you and would actually be instrumental. So thank you. That's actually really, really awesome. And so the spheres are important, right? And having those key players will help you to grow those relationships. And, speaking of relationships, when it comes to networking, we talked about this a little bit before. Buying a house is pretty intimate, right? I know some people look at it as it is transactional, obviously. And for some people, when it's just business, it's transactional. But for the average person who is buying a house, a residential house, I personally would think that it's a commitment, and it's something that, a relationship that you truly want to foster. Do you find that, you have to create these really intimate connections with not just the people that you're selling, that you're selling the house to, but also to the real estate agent and stuff like that? Like, what do those relationships look like, and how important are they?
Absolutely. Yeah, they're very important. I'll start off with the real estate agents and the lenders. It's very important for me to have a strong connection and a really good relationship and really open communication. They need to know that they can rely on me, that I'm going to be available if they're going to send me a client. So I need to be able to be reliable and be available to them. So it's really important that, when all my real estate agents or lenders, they call, I always try to pick up the phone, always return text messages and emails, and always trying to really keep in contact, keep that communication open, because it's really important. And then as well for clients, that is their number one thing that clients usually look for in his attorney is somebody gets back to them. That's the number one complaint that people have with attorneys, is that they don't return phone calls or emails. So it's very important that, you make the client feel valued, make them feel heard, and really ease their anxiety through the home buying process. And so one of the most important ways to do that is just really build that communication and build that connection.
I love the connection piece of it. And, the serial business owner, the serial entrepreneur such as myself, when you said something, I cringed, and not because it was what you're doing, but something that I'm really against, right? So I won't be this client for you. So I don't believe in instant gratification, but I would think that one of the hardest parts of your job is you have to give instant gratification. And so because you're saying they're not answering the calls, they're not returning it. So for me personally, like I set some hard boundaries. I'm like, after 5 o'clock, like I am not available. And I have people working 7 days a week that are working all different types. And sometimes I make myself available because I have to, but I make it very clear that unless it's an emergency, like we're not going to have a phone call. But I understand that there's an urgency when you're buying a house, right? When you're putting in an offer and things like that. And how does that affect you in your personal life, right? Like if you have children or anything like that, like I know you have a little one, and does that add like an extra layer of stress to your life, or are you able to put some limits on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've definitely struggled with that. I think a lot of people do. struggle with boundaries. So yeah, I try to I'll take phone calls after hours. Obviously, if it's something I can handle the next day, I'll try to send a text message or an email saying like, yeah, I definitely received your message, and I will get back to you the next day. But if it's something that is urgent, I will try to take the call during the week. I don't want to say strict, but I try to be strict on the weekends because I really, really need that decompression time and that self-care time to really rejuvenate myself so that I'm ready to give my best all week. So that's those boundaries I've set.
No, I think that that's important. I think that's important for other people to hear too, because I'm sure it's just not in your industry. I mean, I think it's industries across the board. I think that sometimes we forget to set those boundaries because we want to keep those relationships working. Because, like you said, one of the biggest complaints is that somebody's not getting back to them. And by not getting back to them, you might be losing a client. And so, like, I feel like if you're losing that client, then you're like, why did I work so hard to do this in the first place? And so it's like this circle that we've created. But I think, establishing those boundaries, like right out the gate, like I like what you said, like if someone sends you a message after hours and you can't respond, I will respond to you tomorrow morning. Like I do stuff like that sometimes too. And just so people understand, like, this is how this works. But for the most part, most of the stuff that I do, it doesn't need instant gratification, but there are things that do, and there are time limits when things close and when you have to get all of the different things. So I definitely understand, because sometimes you're at the mercy of something else. And I know that that can be really, really hard. So I love the fact that you're setting boundaries. You're telling other people who are networking and doing all of the things that it's okay to set those boundaries. And, for us who are networking, sometimes we're not networking during the day. We're actually out and we're talking at night, and we're doing things in after hours as well. So we definitely work a lot, period, right? And so it is important to take that decompression time, because it's the most important part for us to give our all throughout the week, myself included, right? I don't know how I do half the things I do. And so, when we're setting boundaries, it really made me think of one of the other things that we really wanted to start to talk about is when we're establishing connections and we're creating these relationships. And we talked about how important it is, because we're talking to these people all the time, we're doing something that's very intimate. How important do you think it is to have an authentic connection? I mean, I'm sure that there's been plenty of deals that you had that are cold, but for the most part, how frequent is that authentic connection for you, and how important is that for the longevity of the relationship or reoccurring clients? I don't know if that happens a lot in your industry.
Yeah, I think it's very important, and I think that's really the key to success for establishing long-term relationships with referral partners and clients is being authentic. I think if you don't have an authentic connection, then basically it's really just kind of a cold business transaction, and then you're really no different than the next person, right? But when you really build that personal connection and you nurture those relationships, then it's just a better working relationship, and then you will see repeated business. I've been very lucky. Pretty much most of the people I've networked with have become friends, and I've known them now for years and know them like intimately, and we can text each other and call each other, and sometimes even get grab dinner or a drink. So it's really important to establish an authentic connection, and really that's what makes a long-term relationship successful.
Oh, absolutely. And beyond that authentic connection, it's showing up authentically as yourself, right? And
Yes.
which goes back to when we talked about, everybody's different. And, we are working with you because it's you and because the way that you do your job. So establishing the connection, but beyond that, being the person that you are. And I think, that's how we became friends, right? Like we knew each other on the internet for, I don't know, a year, probably probably a year before we met in person, right?
Yep.
Which is, it's such an amazing thing. But because of how you showed up and who you were, I felt like when I met you, I knew you. It was like we saw each other in real life, but our relationship existed because of how you showed up. And technology is so amazing, right? Like I feel like I see you through the phone, or I even think about it when I think about like our producers and stuff. Like I talk to them so much, I think like it's like, hey, I know them, but like we've never met in person. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Technology is so amazing when it comes to networking. Like we established a trusting relationship and we never even were in the same room, right? So I find that to be super interesting. And when I think about it, it's why we do what we do. It's why networking is so important, and why it kind of boils down to all of that. And I just think it's amazing. And I learned so much like talking to you today. I love the fact that we talked about how networking has been so imperative to your business, and, all of the different people, understanding the different legs of how you interact with different people and the spheres and stuff like that. And I don't know if there's anything else that you wanted to add to what we talked about, but I would love you to do that if you'd like. But also, if you want to go in a little bit more detail, again, tell everybody, how to get a hold of you, the company that you work for, and stuff like that. All of your social media handles.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, again, I'm Heather Estremera of the Barletta team at Ligris and Associates. We're a team of 3. And just some of the stuff that I've been talking about really is how we do business. We're very approachable. We're very, kind, friendly. We love to build those connections. And we really offer a different experience that a lot of clients, a lot of real estate agents and lenders really appreciate. So if you would like to get in touch with me, you can add me on Instagram, which I'm Heather_Estremera_ESQ on Instagram, or it's hestremera@ligris.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. You can just search my name, Heather Estremera Esquire. And I believe on Facebook, I'm just Heather Estremera, but I'd love to connect with anybody who's interested in buying or selling a home, or just wants to learn more about Ligris and what we do, and Barletta team.
I love that. And, I love your social media stuff too, right? It's just like my own personal stuff. And I love that you show up here the same way that you show up online, the same way that you show up in person. And I can speak for you, personally, when I say that you are exactly who you say you are. You show up the way that you're going to show up. And, you've been trusted time and time again. I talk to a lot of people who have worked with you directly. And so I can definitely speak for that. So if you were looking for a real estate attorney in Massachusetts, I know you can also do some other Rhode Island and New Hampshire as well. So if you're interested in that, and if you're looking for someone, she's definitely someone that you should reach out to. So again, my name is Jen Potter. I am the host of Networking Now. Thank you so much, Heather Estremera, for joining us today, and we look forward to the next episode. Have a great day.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
Are you ready to shake up the world of health with me? Welcome to Disruptive Health, where we are flipping the script on traditional wellness. I'm Dr. Denise Brown, and on this show, we are diving deep into the latest trends and breakthroughs in health and wellness. Whether you're curious about nutrition, exploring new therapies, or just want to live your best life, Disruptive Health is your guide. Don't miss Disruptive Health, coming soon to Now Media TV.
The legal profession is not immune to the disruptive power of artificial intelligence. AI is reshaping the way lawyers research, analyze, and manage legal matters. AI-powered legal research tools can sift through vast volumes of legal documents, statutes, and case law in seconds, providing lawyers with comprehensive insights to build their cases. In courtrooms, AI is used to manage and present digital evidence effectively. It can organize and analyze evidence, making complex cases more understandable for judges and juries. In contract review, AI quickly identifies potential risks, inconsistencies, and compliance issues in legal contracts, saving valuable time and reducing human errors. The future of law is being shaped by AI. AI is streamlining legal research, improving courtroom presentations, enhancing contract analysis,